I really care. I care about the fact that people who have so much to give very often feel themselves compelled to go back into employment because they cannot make it work that they get clients for themselves. It hurts me. It pains me because I've been, over the last 5 years, many times in this situation myself. I felt, especially in the beginning, that I simply was not cut out for this, that this whole topic of client acquisition was this giant, unsolvable riddle. And many people simply had that network where simply clients came back to them and they kept having long-term client relationships. And I did have those, but they were never enough. And then when I had months when it was going well, I felt like, but I can never get out of this. I can never break out from this limit of maximum 10,000 a month because there's only so many hours. And my skills are not such that I could command a whatever, $1,000, $2,000 day rate. So I felt really constrained by this. And it really pains me to see, like this gentleman who I spoke to yesterday, let's call him John for simplicity. It really hurts me to see that somebody thinks of going back into employment because they cannot make it work to get clients on their own. It really, personally, I feel like, oh, I get this knot in my stomach, and I wonder how I can communicate that to him, short of, enrolling him in my program, which at that point is just, I don't want to do that. It just doesn't feel right in the moment. I do mention it, that this is something I can help him with, but it doesn't feel right in that moment when he's between that rock and a hard place of struggling to just get by as a consultant and wondering if he should just go pack it in and go back into employment. So I was thinking I'm just going to do this live where I'm going to be speaking off the cuff. I have nothing prepared. And I want to talk about, on the one hand, these two lies that we've been sold on, especially as far as LinkedIn is concerned, that we either have to do content and that this is the holy grail and that nothing else, that just need to unlock that content riddle and people will come flocking to you. And on the other hand is this, it's the unholy practice of pitch slapping, where people just connect with you and immediately send you a request for a meeting or download this stupid ebook or something like this. And there simply is a better way. And I showed this to John yesterday when he showed me someone who he actually wants to have a conversation with. And he said, okay, so my plan, and this was sort of like one of his last ditch attempt to get a client for his consulting business, or his struggling consulting business. His last ditch attempt would be that he engages with this person very in a lengthy way and comments on her content and invites her to look at his content and all of that. And as he was doing this, I just decided, okay, let me just look up this person. I'm going to add her, simply using a phrase that I use very often in this context. And then if she accepts, that I will start a conversation and get a response from her. And I did. She accepted my invitation. And then I asked something about that she posted recently, and she responded to me. And this is how you win clients on LinkedIn. Now, I'm not saying that this is somebody who I could win as a client. She's not even in my target audience. She's in his target audience. But please bring it back to basics. It's not, conceptually at least, it's not that hard. Imagine if you were thrown into a room full of people that fit your target audience, fit your persona demographics. You just don't know if they are in need of your services. That's it. But if you are selling to VPs of HR in tech companies, you are thrust into a room that is full with VPs of HR in tech companies. This is what LinkedIn allows you to do. And yes, you could be the equivalent, if we stay with this analogy, if we imagine ourselves to be at this cocktail party, doing content means that you're effectively starting to mutter things to yourself and then hope that enough people will notice and that you will form a crowd. Okay, that's quite a funny image. It somehow reminds me of Larry David. Anything that has to do with Larry David, he just stands in the corner somewhere, mutters to himself, and people start flocking to him. Well, yes, it works. And especially if you combine it with commenting on other people's content, it absolutely works. I only recently onboarded, actually this week, I onboarded a client who noticed a comment of mine on somebody else's content, added me and said that he might need my help. And we started working together this week. So it absolutely works, but it takes time to get there. And it does not bow down to any predictability. Like, you can post as much as you want, but there will be months where you will not get a client from your posting or commenting. It will absolutely happen. It happens to me sometimes. But what I do is I mitigate this fact by having a decently priced product, which means that I don't have to onboard 20 clients every month. And on the other hand, that I know how to do outbound prospecting. And outbound prospecting is the thing that will get you over any lull in your business. This really is that simple. You start 100 conversations. If you do it well, maybe you'll need 200 conversations in the beginning. But if you start 200 conversations with people, you have an offer you've sold previously to people, you've closed deals, and you know what you're doing. You're not a complete amateur. You're not starting out. You're not, 21 college dropout who's now suddenly trying to sell into corporates. Okay, that would be really hard. But even if you are a 21 college dropout, with this method, you can get yourself small, tiny little gigs with, for example, marketing agencies that you want to help out if you are positioned appropriately. If your profile says that you focus on whatever it is, TikTok paid advertising and so on, you learn it a little bit and then you try to get gigs with smaller agencies where you help them with that, you will get yourself a client. That's the beauty of this thing. And the need to actually see this analogy, see yourself in this situation of being in that cocktail party where there's like a ton of people who are your target audience. If you get that right, you will never starve for clients. You will never have to go back into employment if you don't want to. If you want to, that's fine. But it really pained me to see this gentleman who I spoke to recently, where he felt defeated, thinking that I'm just not getting any clients. I currently don't have any leads. It can be as simple as adding someone with a friendly phrase, commenting something on their content, starting a conversation, and then asking them, and this is the thing that some people have a problem with, is transitioning from rapport building into exploratory mode. Exploration. Hey, so I wonder, in your company, do you have what do you do? For example, if we stick with this analogy of VPs of HR, how are you doing in terms of the Great Resignation? Is it a big problem for you? And people, if they are positively predisposed to you, if they are friendly and chatty, they will respond to you and they will say, yeah, it's actually a really big problem. And if you have a solution for that, then you might say, listen, I've been working with a couple of companies in this space, and we offer XYZ. I wonder if you'd be interested in quickly discussing this. Absolutely no sales pressure, nothing of that sort, but let's quickly jump on the phone. And they will say yes. Not everyone will say yes. Some will start ignoring you because you pitch them. That's fine. But it works. It really, really works. So this is a message for you. If you are thinking of, even if the thought has crossed your mind that you would consider going back into employment because you cannot make your consulting, coaching business, whatever it is that you do as a solopreneur work, please do consider that there is an option. You can simply start friendly conversation, not pitch slaps. And you do not have to sit there like a honeypot waiting for the bees to come. You should put out content. I'm not dissing it. By no means. It's extremely useful. but simply starting those cocktail party style conversations where you are genuinely interested in them. That's the key thing. You, number one, genuinely interested in them. And number two, you live in your reality. You don't live and die by their approval. Some people, even with this friendly approach, will tell you that you're a horrible person and that you're pitching and so on, and they will disconnect you. And it happens to me, although I'm really, really friendly on these conversations. I never mindlessly pitch. I sometimes 1 out of 100 will become really annoying and will become unfriendly. It's not a problem because you live in your reality. You're an alpha, right? So you decide how the conversation goes, and if they become unfriendly, well, you block them. Okay? So that's my message to you. Really take heart. I've been there many times myself. And incidentally, I'm recording this at the end of a week, which was my best cash week ever, probably, if I think back. So it really is possible. You absolutely can do it. Imagine what would happen if you started 120 conversations. That's 20 a day if you work 6 days a week. And by the way, if you're a struggling consultant, coach, solopreneur, you should work 6 days a week. And if you simply start 20 conversations in this style with the right target persona, there is virtually no way in the world that after a month of starting conversations like this, you will not get yourself a client. Yes, you need to be decently good on sales calls. You need to have an offer that closes at least $2,000, if not more. But with this approach, it's not a mass approach. It's not I'm going to build a funnel and I'm going to run people to a landing page and so on. That's for different business models. Okay, that's either for low ticket items, e-commerce stuff, or if you're really good already, if you know how to do organic and you can do it to the tune of 10, 20, 30,000 a month, then you can start running ads, webinar, and the like. But if you are in this struggling position, it really is absolutely possible that you can get yourself a client within a month at the very most. You just need to grind it out, not be perturbed by people's judgment if you don't hit the tone right. And you need to be an alpha. You need to live in your reality and be completely indifferent to what anyone says. If they are unhappy with you, you just brush that off, and you need to feel that genuinely. So that's my message for the weekend. I hope it was useful, and really take heart. There is a lot. There's so much business to go around in the world. If you are competent in what you do, and this is the one main thing that you need to focus on, to hone your skills, your competence, that is the thing that will always carry you through. I have a post coming up that talks about how your skills are the number one thing that no government can take away, no government can tax away from you. And it's also something that no, spurned spouse, in the case of a divorce, can take away from you. Your skills are so crucial, way more important than whatever money or wealth you've amassed. It's your skills. If you right now took everything from Jeff Bezos, how quickly do you think he would be, again, a billionaire? I think very quickly. My money would definitely be on him, that he can do that. So that's my message to you. Take heart. Start 100 conversations a week. You'll get yourself a client. Don't chicken out. If you don't want to go back into corporate, don't, because you don't have to. If you're competent in what you do, you're going to win yourself clients. Peace out. Okay, let's look at, there's some comments here. Glad Boy, pretty much me and something that Michael helped me solve. I had a simple product, but I sucked at selling. No, you didn't suck at selling. You just needed a little bit of structure in what you were doing, and especially some time management, David. But thank you for the shout out. I really appreciate it. No, but I remember the thing that you simply needed help with, as many people do, as I myself had to learn it over time gradually, was simply time management and in a focused way to start those conversations. And you did extraordinarily well, right? I was so happy that you, within a week, you got 3 clients. Awesome, man. See, that's awesome. And then another comment from David. I went back to a corporate job, but I view it as a building block for future solopreneur business. Absolutely. That's perfectly fine. If you see it as a strategically useful and valuable thing, and if you don't use it as an excuse, and if this is genuine, then man, by all means, right? It's you live your life. I'm just saying I really felt so yeah, it really pained me to see this gentleman John that I was speaking to, and it's so not necessary that he would need to go back into corporate, but he felt it was, so that's the sad thing. Congress Michael, thank you. David, what else? Yes, and Anna says, create your own reality too. Exactly. That is part of what I'm talking about. I mean, what I'm talking about is actually part of creating your own reality. This alpha thing, where you simply are completely unperturbed of what other people's opinions of you are. That is you creating your little bubble of reality where, look, you're not doing anything wrong, okay? You're not even if you were to pitch slap people, you're not doing anything wrong, anything illegal. It is probably very ineffective. It is not a good way to build long-term, business. But if you sometimes need to do it, go for it, man, right? It's really not a problem. You're not doing anything wrong. I got at least 4, if not 5 clients just from cold emails. Okay, so there's no problem with that. If you feel that this works for you, if you're a good writer, if you write good emails, do cold emails. But as long as you don't do anything profoundly unethical or illegal, that is what Anna says correctly. Creating your own reality is about. You simply live in your world, you have a goal, and who cares what other people think? Also, who cares what those influencers think who say you should only do content? I keep quoting him. I love Chris Walker and his content. He's completely on the side of only do inbound. Okay. It simply doesn't work for everyone. Okay. He's extremely talented at what he does. Many people are like him, but there's even more who are not like him. And while everybody should absolutely hone their writing skills, do video, be present, do content, but not for everyone it will translate into clients. They will need years to crack that formula. It took me at least 1.5 years before I came to a point where content was responsible for more business for me than outbound was. It takes time. And so not everybody is in that position. So don't be impacted by the judgment, even hypothetical judgment. I sometimes thought of that, like, what would Chris Walker say, right? Or similarly, what would this other influencer say who is just very, friendly and positive and only does networking calls, and only does coffee chats, virtual coffees? I don't care what he would say. I have my own goals. This is what matters to me. I'm not doing anything illegal or unethical. That's it. Just run with that. Okay? And again, I repeat myself, but it needs to be repeated. If you start 100 conversations a week with prospective clients and you do it in a respectful way, in an inquisitive way, you will win clients. It really will happen for you, because people will say people buy differently now. They all want to come to you in their time. Well, sorry, it still works that way, that many people are sort of in this Netherland. Yes, they experience something as a problem. They don't really feel like they want to research a solution for it. But if somebody comes to them with a respectful, friendly approach, it's not sleazy in any way, it's friendly, and they happen to be, okay, I guess I should do something about it, and this person just approached me, might as well go with them. This happened to me all the time in the year 2020, 21, and yeah, it's like not yet in 20. I've not been doing much outbound prospecting in this year, but this constantly happens. Okay, this is effectively what initially I built my business on. So if I can do it, you can do it. You just need to have this positive attitude towards people, not be in it for yourself, but try to actually serve them. You got to serve someone. And if you have this attitude and you're genuinely inquisitive, if you could take it or leave it, if somebody responds to you, and if you are having kind of like an alpha mindset where you create your own reality, as Anna says, you're going to be fine. Cool. So I'm kind of having a soapbox moment here. I'm kind of enjoying this. Benjamin is asking, is this approach concentrated in LinkedIn or other platforms as well? Well, good question, Benjamin. It's definitely easy on LinkedIn. Why? Because you see so much information about the person. And I live in the world of high ticket, not necessarily only B2B, although that is a usual, most common focus. Also high ticket B2C, anything that is sort of a high ticket coaching program, for example. And for this, LinkedIn is particularly good because you see so much information about the person. You see their work history. So there's always something to start a conversation over. And there is their content, which hopefully if they put out something, even if they just like somebody's content, they don't even have to comment, but you can start a conversation over a post that they have liked, they have reacted to. You can say, I saw you just liked Gary Vee's post about gratitude. I'm curious, why did that resonate with you? And if they're in a good mood, if they're in a good predisposition, they will answer. And then you have a conversation going. So I do feel that LinkedIn is particularly well predisposed to this, but it perfectly also works on Facebook. If you can see their recent behavior, which I believe if you go to their profile, into their feed, you can see what they engaged on. You can do the same thing. It's just that on Facebook, you don't see really their work history. But what you could do is you could look at their Facebook behavior and then start a conversation on LinkedIn, if it's not too creepy, if it doesn't appear like you have stalked them. So it works pretty much anywhere. Let me know, Benjamin, if that answer helped. If you want, give me a follow-up question. Happy to get into that. Alrighty. Gleb says that's exactly it. A lot of people will just not be able to do inbound. It also takes a lot of knowledge of the world, skills in storytelling, and ability to speak and write well. Well, you are definitely a great example of speaking. We haven't spoken yet, but writing well, you definitely are good at that, Gleb. I love reading your posts, also because we're sort of, spirit, what do you say? Spirit brothers, kind of two feathers of the same bird. I don't know. Analogies are lacking, but absolutely. Not that they're not able to do inbound. It's one of those things that simply takes really time to develop. And many people are not in a position where they have months and months of cash available that they can go without a client. And also, most importantly, that is why you need to do outbound as well. You gain so much market knowledge by doing outbound, because inbound, you might just be churning out content, even if it gets good engagement, but you don't get engagement from the right people, not really comments, more likes. That's always a pernicious thing pernicious situation to be in. If you mainly get likes, but no comments, it could be that you're like popular and people resonate with it. But if you don't get any substantial engagement where people ask follow-ups or even disagree with you, and you can then see where they're at, you're not learning about them very much. It's better than nothing. Don't get me wrong. If you get 10 likes on one post and 100 likes on another, okay, you know what resonates with your audience. So likes are not bad, but comments are more valuable because you actually start a conversation. You also build stronger relationships with people. So that is why it's so important to do outbound, especially when you're starting out, because as you are having conversations with people, you learn what they care about and you learn where you are wrong. If you think that you have to have a specific feature in your product or anything else like that, you think this is what I need to offer and this is what people care about, and then in the conversations you realize, hey, they don't really care about that. That's what you find out, and much faster if you also do outbound than if you just were to focus on inbound. Cool. Mike Keith. Hey, Mike. Great beta. Michael, sometimes it's hard to realize or accept the things you don't know. You accept the things you don't know that you don't know. Yep, exactly. So I'm not quite sure if that's in reference to something very specific what I said, but it seems that you're supportive, so that's good. Cool. David again, Benjamin Chan, pretty much applicable to any platform or even real life scenario where you can stand genuine and authentic convos with people. Exactly, David. That's a very good reminder. Thank you. It really is about if you are in any kind of social situation. That's why I keep mentioning the example of the cocktail party. Whatever social situation you are in, try to be really inquisitive and just talk to people in a way that shows that you're interested in their life. And then when you're trying to get clients, you're of course trying to direct the conversation more into the business side of things. But if you are inquisitive about what they do, it's great. The other day, somebody did that with me. The other day, somebody started a conversation with me over whether I want to move to Dubai in order to save on taxes. And while this was never, not never, I kept thinking about, well, should we move to Dubai just to save on taxes? And I said, I just don't want to live there. But somebody asked me such good questions about my business and about generally my kind of where I am at, and if saving tax would be of interest to me and so on. I indulged a conversation and ended up being easily a half-hour conversation that I had with this lady. And she taught me a lot of things. And not that I now am interested in moving to Dubai, but it's now I'm like much better informed. And if I actually ever feel like moving to Dubai and getting that help, I might actually work with her. To be fair, I now have a client who's doing very similar things. So just out of loyalty, I would work with her. But if that weren't the case, I would work with the first lady who approached me, because she built a relationship out of complete nothing, out of complete thin air. That is why I actually entitled this talk Something from Nothing, because you can create this, you can generate money out of thin air. And also, again, this is such a great thing to just realize. Imagine if you told somebody, your ancestor 150 years ago, who's somewhere tilling the fields or being a day laborer, and you told them, so there's actually a possibility where you sit at home, you communicate with people who are half the world away, you find out if they are someone who you could help with your skills and knowledge, and they say yes, and then they pay you, and you just keep sitting at home adding value to them. Okay, that is such an amazing opportunity that we have in front of us, that simply putting your hands, folding your hands and just saying, okay, there's nothing I can do, I have to go back into getting a job because that's everything I know. That is such a shame if you have to do this out of lack, not if you see it as a strategically good step for yourself. If that is the case, absolutely go for it. But if you then simply fold because you cannot make it, just imagine what your ancestor would tell you. They would say, dude, I'm riveting the beams in a building, okay, every day. It's super bone-breaking work. Or I'm in a coal mine, or worse things. And you telling me that you cannot start 100 conversations with people just by typing on your computer. They even could say the word computer. So it's the opportunity that we have in front of us is unbelievable. So please make use of it. Okay, Anna says, content helps us create our philosophy on our page. Great things take time to develop. Exactly. It really can take time, and some people are naturally gifted at that. I've known someone who has just started her profile. She had 100 followers. She had 50 likes on each of her posts. She was extremely good at it. Happens, absolutely, but doesn't happen to most people. Another comment by David. I think maybe one of the keys to Michael's approach is empathy and listening skills. Absolutely, David. Yes, LinkedIn is good because you have all the info, but if you can start convos with people and listen to them, you can sell to them. Exactly. And that's why I think I'm primarily active on LinkedIn, although I have a couple of other social networks where I'm just sort of a visitor and have it like a content repository. But if you have this approach, if you are genuinely inquisitive, you have empathy, you have listening skills, you actually are interested in their well-being, you're going to be successful. Cool. Thanks so much for all the questions, everyone. I'm going to wrap up. It was great to see. Oh, sorry, there's more questions. Benjamin, thanks for the answer. The contextual insight and understanding of post comments is great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Birds of the same feather. Okay, yeah, exactly. Now David says birds of the same feather. Geez, I thought I knew this analogy. Brother from another mother. That's it. That's what I meant. Okay. Thanks for all the comments, everyone. Have a great weekend.